Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name's Devin and today we're going to do a little reading wrap up of my December 2018 reads. So I read a total of 8 books in December, which is pretty good, especially considering how busy I was with the holidays. We're also going to do a little giveaway. That will be at the end of this video, so you can watch the whole thing or you can skip forward, whichever you want. I'm going to start with 3 books that I don't actually have physical copies of. I'm going to try really hard to get a little picture right here for you guys. But as you know, I'm new to this whole video editing thing, so we'll see how that pans out. But these are books that I got from the library, so I don't have a physical copy of them anymore because I returned them so other people could read them. The first book that I'm going to mention is Moonstruck, Volume 1. This is a graphic novel that I've heard really great things about. I thought I was going to love this one, and it wasn't bad. It just didn't quite hit all of the boxes for me. This is the first volume, so I'll probably pick up the second to see if it gets stronger as it goes through the series, because obviously the first issue sometimes can be not the strongest. But in this book, we follow 2 young women who are kind of in the beginnings of their romance. And it's set in this magical world, in a very fantasy-heavy world where people are centaurs or werewolves or other magical creatures, basically. And some drama kind of happens in this first issue. I don't really want to give anything away, but one of our characters kind of gets transformed. This was actually a pretty cute story. I didn't feel very strongly about it. I did end up giving it 3 stars out of 5, so I'll still probably pick up the second volume just to see if it gets a little stronger. The next book that I want to mention is 50 Queers Who Changed the World by Dan Jones, possibly. This book, I had a lot of conflicting feelings about this book. I've seen a lot of these types of books written about women, and this is the first book that I've ever seen like this about queer people. I was really, really excited going into this book, but I kind of felt like the representation was lacking. I felt like we had a lot of gay men and a lot of lesbians, but not a lot of bisexual people, not a lot of non-binary people, not a lot of trans people. I felt like it was just very specifically gay, which is great. I'm glad that there are books being written about gay people. I just felt like the author could have done a little more to include other people on the queer spectrum. I also had a pretty huge problem with the fact that there was dead naming of trans individuals in this book. So that made me very uncomfortable, and it really took me out of the book. And I just feel like I'm so glad that books like this are being made, even though this book clearly struggled in the content. I'm still glad to see books like this being made, and I can't wait to see more, and more that are done in a more inclusive way. The next book that I'll mention is Fox 8 by George Saunders. This book has been mentioned a few times on BookTube, so I picked it up at the library. I thought it was going to be this cute little fun book, but then I realized that we follow the perspective of Fox 8, who is a young fox who has learned to speak human, as he calls it. So he speaks English, but the whole book is actually written almost phonetically because he's speaking human to tell you the story. And the story is that there is a shopping center being built in the middle of his home, and his whole fox colony is like having to deal with that. So it was a little bit of a sad story. I thought it was going to be this cute story from the perspective of an animal, but I didn't realize we were going that route. But in the end, I gave this 3 or 4 stars. I can't remember which, but I enjoyed it. I think sitting here right now, I think it's a 4-star read. The next book that I have for you guys is How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin. N.K. Jemisin is a fantasy and sci-fi author who has won so many Hugo Awards and very well deserved Hugo Awards. This is her first short story collection, and I absolutely adored this. Jemisin is always really strong in world building, but I've never read short stories where the world building is like this. I did not want to leave the world that these stories were in. I absolutely loved it. And bonus for anyone who's read Dreamblood Duology or the Broken Earth series, there are stories written in those worlds in here. One of each. It happened. Read them. I loved this one, and this was a 5-star read for me. The next book that I want to talk to you guys about is The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. This is a fantasy set in the Muscovy region of medieval Russia. And this is really about what happened when Christianity came to Russia. And it's kind of a story of the old world versus the new world. And I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to give it away. But we follow a young girl named Vasya and her family. And her story is absolutely beautiful and absolutely just hypnotizing. I could not put it down. I could not wait to see what happened next. Absolutely loved this one. 5-star read. Next up is Curse Words by Charles Soule with art by Ryan Brown. I loved this one too. Another 5-star read. This is a graphic novel with amazing artwork, and it is super, super campy fantasy. So we follow our protagonist, Wizard, who is a wizard who shows up in New York City with a talking koala named Margaret. We kind of come to find out that he might not be who he says he is, maybe, question mark. There's some questions about who he is and what his intentions are, and then all of these other wizards start showing up, and there are wizard duels, and it's just really wild and really fun and super, super, super entertaining. 5-star read for me. The next book that I'm going to talk about is another 5-star read. I guess December was a really good month for me. And that's another graphic novel. This one is called The Tea Dragon Society. This book is directed more at children or middle grade kids. But I think anyone can read this book. It is absolutely adorable. This is kind of a fairy tale where we follow Greta, this young lady who is kind of discovering the Tea Dragon Society and who they are and what they do and why they are so, so important. And I absolutely loved everything about this. It's so soft and so pure and so wholesome. It's just wholesome content, y'all. It's great. I loved this one. 5 stars. So the last book I want to talk to you guys about is our giveaway book, and that is Severance by Ling Ma. This is a debut novel that was just released in 2018. I used my Book of the Month credit for this one, as you can see. This is a post-apocalyptic dystopian novel set in the near future, and we are told the happenings through two different narratives. So there is a before story that's happening, and there is an after story that's happening. And we follow a young woman named Candace, who is basically a young working millennial in New York who kind of just works through the apocalypse. Like, she doesn't quite notice that it's happening around her. So this is obviously a satire. It's kind of poking fun at capitalism and millennials in general. And I thought I was going to love it. And me and Severance just did not get along. I think I may have suffered from this book being a little bit overhyped for me. So if this book sounds interesting to you, be sure to comment below to enter the giveaway and to subscribe to my channel. And I will use a random number generator to select a winner, and I'll announce that on February 1st. So those are all the books that I read in December. What did you guys read in December? Be sure to share down below. I want to hear all about your reading. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and good luck on the giveaway. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!